Okay,
so
now
about
Anthony,
the Real Names game.
the Real Names game.
Okay, so
And we talked about the fact that we could define our organization through the names game.
Right.
Which would be an interesting activity for NGTE. But
Right,
now,
yeah.
I want you to do the names game with your organization.
Okay, well, the Roads of Education organization, also known as TREO, TREO. That's companies like IBM or NASA. They, their names are turned into acronyms, as a shortened form. But for the individual, taking their name like Reagan, like this young man I met in the Kibera slum, the cheering children.
Reagan, my boy, isn't he wonderful?
And Reagan.
Reagan.
So on the chalkboard he wrote, for his real name he wrote, rabbits, elephants are good animal names.
Really?
Right, that's what he wrote.
Very cool.
There was a young girl in Magu, Tanzania. Her name was Lucky. She was at the Methodist English Medium School in Magu, Tanzania. She was about 7 years old. She had to stand on a chair. We're outside writing on a chalkboard. And she wrote, leopards usually chase killing young. And that's what she wrote for her real name. And just to show the power of imagination, creativity, that language is something that frees us and connects us to everything and everyone, but it's also a way that we can define ourselves and our experience, and that we can develop our vocabulary, we can develop our understanding of language through something as simple as taking the letters of your name and now practice what words you know. Some kids were just writing rabbit or apple or giraffe, and because they're practicing. But other ones were actually able to make a sentence out of their name.
I wondered
That's
about
the
that.
real power. And so kids like Reagan, Lucky. There was also a young man. His name was Yusuf. Yusuph. And he's 16 years old. He was at the Watoto Wa Africa, which stands for Children of Africa Orphanage. And so he was one of the young men that I met. And so he wrote for his real name as Young Under Sandal Unless People Happy. There's a young man who was defining his experience that young people are have been thrown away. Unless they're happy, they're just like under your thumb, understand they're stepped on. And so he used the letters of his name to express deep understanding about his experience in this orphanage and what people and what children face in some of these places. And so it's very significant that these type of experience can be expressed by these young people using language, but if the teachers don't have the tools to help engage or help even recognize the abilities, these natural abilities these kids have, they're just lost in the shuffle. So the Roads of Education mandate is to be of service, to be a positive, make a positive difference, and I can't even think what I'm saying.
I look. What we need to do is look at teachers as educators, as well as all the other educators we have around us, and we need to help teachers get out from under the thumbs of the government and the system, because that's why we lose them all.
Well, but that's who they're looking for their resources. And so the fact that we as individuals, it doesn't necessarily have to come from the government. It can come from individuals and organizations and corporations that they can say, we're going to it's our responsibility as well to be a part of the educational
Yes.
system, and that we're not just here to collect money from people, but that we have to give back. And so, the corporate social responsibility mandates that organizations have, that they can actually now partner with educators and education systems and teachers to help to identify and provide tools. And so that's what the Roads of Education felt that we could
wonderful.
do, is help provide tools that might be of some use, that wouldn't necessitate them having to have an iPad or an iPod or a laptop, and that we can do these things without those resources. But ultimately, the goal is to create, be able to deliver those type of devices so that they can now be connected
Connection
to,
is
it's all about being
important.
connected to the world.
We got to.